We saw that strong period of outperformance from the ASX 200 relative to many global indices between mid-September, going through as far as mid-October, but that period seems to have abated, and we've seen some good selling coming through in the Australian market. The market is underperforming many global markets. If you price all markets in Aussie dollar terms, we're down about 2.2% for the month. If you look at the Brazilian market, which is up about 16%, that's having an absolute flyer. But if you look at mainstream markets like the S&P, that's pretty flat on the month. In Europe, we're seeing relatively tepid gains coming through in the FTSE DAX and CAC, and the Italian MIB having a flyer up about 6% in Aussie dollar terms. So we are underperforming global markets at the moment, and I think a lot of that is down to the use of income in the ASX 200. I mean, we've had some reasonable gains in financials and certainly some strong gains coming through in energy and mining stocks, but if you look at the healthcare sector, down 9% for the month. If you look at the real estate sector, the REIT sector down 8.4% per month, discretionary down nearly 7%. You can see the moves that we're seeing now in the bond market is really having a big impact on the income that you can get from your cash payments of dividends. So as the yield curve has steepened significantly here in Australia since the beginning of the month, we're talking about the difference between 2 and 10-year treasuries moving from 37 basis points up to around where we are, about 70 basis points. That's made the income that you can get from the dividend payments of these stocks less compelling on a relative basis. And that's really what we do as a market. A lot of the income that you get from various sectors will be very much in play, and we are very much seen as a yield play. So when bond yields are moving up quite aggressively in developed markets, which of course is what we're seeing at the moment, the ASX will underperform other markets, and that's really what we're seeing at the moment. So regardless of the earnings that we're seeing from NAB, Macquarie, ANZ this coming week, or what the RBA say, I think really we have to take a view on what happens in the bond market. We are seeing gains in the mining space, and things like iron ore futures, copper and oil prices are looking fairly elevated at the moment and relatively supported. But I think if we see a continued steepening of the yield curve, those back-end longer-term yields moving up more aggressively, the ASX 200 will continue underperforming many global markets. So that's really the key catalyst for me this coming week. What happens with bond yields will dictate how we as a market trade.